The email arrived at 2:17 in the morning. I only saw it because I couldn't sleep, scrolling mindlessly through my phone like I'd been doing for weeks. The subject line made my stomach drop. "You need to see this before they find you." No sender name, just a string of random letters and numbers. My finger hovered over the delete button, but something stopped me. Maybe it was the insomnia talking, or maybe it was the fact that my life had felt wrong lately. Like I was living in a house where all the furniture had been moved 3 inches to the left, and I couldn't quite figure out why nothing felt right anymore. I opened it. Inside was a single attachment, a scanned photograph. When the image loaded, my breath caught in my throat. It was a picture of a little girl, maybe 4 or 5 years old, standing in front of a white institutional building. She had dark curly hair, freckles across her nose, and she was holding a stuffed rabbit. The girl looked exactly like me at that age. The problem was, I had never seen this photograph before, and I had never owned a stuffed rabbit. I zoomed in on the background. There was a sign partially visible behind the child, Millbrook Developmental Res. The rest was cut off. My hands started shaking. I'd never heard of any place called Millbrook. My childhood was spent in Portland, Oregon, in a small blue house on Maple Street, with my mom, who raised me alone after my dad died when I was 2. At least, that's what I'd always been told. Before I could process what I was looking at, another email arrived, then another, all from the same anonymous sender. Each one contained a document, medical records with my name on them, but listing treatments I'd never received, school enrollment forms for institutions I'd never attended, and then the one that made my blood run cold, a death certificate for a girl named Maya Christine Hartley. Age, 4 years, 11 months. Date of death, September 19th, 1998. Cause of death, drowning. That was my name. My birth date minus 5 years. I felt like the floor had disappeared beneath me. My name is Maya Hartley. I'm 29 years old. I'm a data analyst for a tech company in Seattle. I live in a modest apartment in Capitol Hill. I have exactly 3 friends, a cat named Stevie, and a mother who calls me every Sunday like clockwork. I am unremarkable, ordinary, safe. Except, apparently, I died when I was 4 years old. I sat there in my dark bedroom, the light from my phone casting shadows across my face, and tried to make sense of what I was seeing. This had to be some kind of mistake, right? Identity theft, maybe? Someone using my information? But the photograph, that little girl's face. I grabbed my laptop and started searching. Millbrook Developmental Research. Nothing came up. I tried variations. Millbrook Institute, Millbrook Children's Center, Millbrook Medical. Still nothing. It was as if the place had been erased from the internet entirely. Then I remembered something. When I was 16, I'd asked my mom for my birth certificate because I needed it for a driver's license. She'd gotten weird about it, nervous. She'd handed it to me quickly and changed the subject when I tried to ask about the hospital where I was born. At the time, I thought maybe she was just emotional, remembering my dad or something. But now, I walked to my closet and pulled down the old shoebox where I kept important documents. Birth certificate, social security card, passport. I laid the birth certificate on my desk and really looked at it for the first time. The paper was too new. The ink too fresh for something that should be 29 years old. The seal looked off, like it had been photocopied and reprinted. My heart was pounding now. I picked up my phone and almost called my mom, but something stopped me. If whoever sent those emails was trying to warn me, then maybe calling the person who'd been lying to me my entire life wasn't the smartest move. Instead, I did something that felt insane, but also somehow completely necessary. I grabbed my keys, threw on jeans and a hoodie, and walked out to my car. It was 3:30 in the morning. The streets were empty, rain-slicked, glowing under the streetlights. I drove to my mom's house in Ballard, the house I'd grown up in, or at least the house where my memories said I'd grown up in. I parked 2 blocks away and walked. Every window in her house was dark. Using the spare key she'd given me for emergencies, I let myself in, moving as quietly as possible. The house smelled like lavender and old books, familiar, comforting, but now it felt like a stage set, a carefully constructed illusion. I went straight to the attic, the one place my mom never let me go as a kid. "Too much dust," she'd always said. "You'll trigger your allergies." I didn't have allergies. I pulled down the folding stairs and climbed up. The attic was surprisingly organized, boxes labeled neatly in my mother's handwriting. Holiday decorations, tax documents, kitchen extras. Then in the far corner, I saw it, a locked metal filing cabinet. My mom wasn't the type to lock things. She barely remembered to lock the front door half the time. This felt intentional. I searched the attic for 20 minutes before I found the key, taped underneath a loose floorboard near the window. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely fit the key into the lock. Inside were files, dozens of files, all labeled with codes, strings of letters and numbers that meant nothing to me. I grabbed one at random and opened it. Inside were photographs of children, maybe 20 or 30 different kids, all around the same age, 4 or 5 years old. They were standing in front of the same white building from the photo that had been emailed to me, and in the margin of each photo, handwritten notes. Subject A7, responsive to protocol. Subject C12, discontinued. Subject F9, extraction successful. I felt sick. These children looked terrified. Some were crying, some were staring at the camera with blank, empty expressions. And then I found her, me, or the girl who looked like me. Subject M4. That was all it said. No name, just a code. Underneath the photographs was a folder labeled Project Meridian, Psychological Integration Protocols. I opened it, my vision blurring with tears. I didn't even realize I was crying. The document was dense, clinical, terrifying. It outlined a program designed to, God, I could barely read it, to place children who had been raised in institutional settings into normal family environments for the purpose of long-term behavioral observation. They weren't adopted. They were planted, given to people who weren't really their parents, people who were paid to raise them, monitor them, report back. The floor felt like it was tilting. I gripped the edge of the filing cabinet to keep from collapsing. My mother, the woman who had braided my hair and taught me to ride a bike and held me when I cried over stupid middle school drama. She wasn't my mother. She was my handler. I heard a sound downstairs. Footsteps. Maya. My mom's voice floated up, soft, concerned. "Honey, is that you?" I didn't answer. I shoved the files back, locked the cabinet, my mind racing. "Maya, I know you're up there." Closer now. "Please come down. We need to talk." No surprise in her voice. She knew. She'd been waiting for this. I climbed down slowly. She stood in her bathrobe, gray hair loose, looking small, tired, sad. "How long have you known?" she asked. "About an hour," I whispered. "How long have you known I'd find out?" "From the beginning. They told us it would happen eventually. Is that what I am to you? A protocol?" "No." Her voice cracked. "You were, at first. But then you became my daughter. For real. I love you." "You don't even know who I am," I said, backing away. "My real name. Where I came from." She looked at me with so much pain. "Your name was Emma. Emma Rose Sullivan. Your parents died in a car accident when you were 3. State custody. Then you were selected for the program. They told me you needed stability, love, a second chance. And you believed them?" I questioned it every day, but by the time I realized what I'd gotten into, I loved you too much to let you go. There was a long silence. Rain against windows, a clock ticking. "They're going to come for you now," she said, "now that you know, but you can't let them take you. Promise me." "Why would I promise you anything?" "Because I'm the only one who knows how to get you out, and I will not let them erase you twice." Her phone rang. Her face went white. "We have to go, right now. The cabinet has a sensor. We have maybe 10 minutes. "Where?" "There's a woman, another parent who got out. She helps kids like you disappear. But we leave now." I looked at this woman who'd raised me, who'd taught me to make pancakes and fold fitted sheets and stand up for myself even when I was scared, who'd lied to me every single day of my life. And I made a choice, not because I trusted her, but because I didn't trust them more. "Let's go," I said. We ran. If you want to know who I really am, where we went, and what I discovered about the other children from Project Meridian, subscribe right now and comment where you're watching from. Because this story isn't just about me anymore. It's about all of us, the ones they tried to erase. And I'm about to make sure the whole world knows we exist. We drove for 3 hours through dark highways. My mom kept checking the mirror, tension in her shoulders, knuckles white on the wheel. "Tell me about the others," I said. "There were 43 of you originally. The program ran 8 years before it was officially shut down." "Officially?" "They rebranded. Different name, but the core mission never changed. You were science experiments dressed up as adoption cases." We pulled onto a gravel road through dense forest. 20 minutes later, a small cabin appeared, moss-covered, windows dark. The door opened. A woman emerged, maybe 60, steel gray hair, eyes that had seen too much. Behind her, a man in his mid-30s, same haunted expression I'd seen in those photos. "Catherine," my mom said, and they embraced. "And you must be Maya," Catherine said. "Or Emma. Come inside." The cabin was warm, a fire crackling. The man, David, nodded but didn't speak. "He was subject B19, Catherine explained. "I didn't figure out the truth until he was 12. We waited, planned. When he turned 18, we ran. That was 11 years ago." "What happens if they do find you?" I asked. Catherine and David exchanged a look. "They call it reintegration therapy," Catherine said carefully. "It's not therapy, it's deprogramming. They try to convince you that your memories of the program are false, that you're confused, unstable. Some people come out believing it. Some people don't come out at all." The fire popped, sending sparks up the chimney. I felt like I was in a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. "How many others are there?" I asked. "How many of us got out?" "That we know of?" 16, Catherine said. "There's a network. We don't meet in person, too risky. But we communicate through encrypted channels, share information, warn each other when we hear about new operations. You're the newest." "Lucky me," I muttered. "Actually, you are lucky," David said. "Most people don't figure it out until it's too late. By the time they start asking questions, they've already been flagged for reintegration. The fact that someone sent you those emails, that someone warned you, that means someone on the inside is helping." I pulled out my phone and opened the email app. The anonymous messages were still there. I showed them to Catherine. Her expression changed instantly. "These came from inside the program's secure server. See this code in the email header? That's internal routing. Whoever sent this has high-level access." "Why would someone inside help me?" I asked. "Maybe they have a conscience," my mom offered quietly. "Or maybe," David said darkly, "they're setting a trap." Nobody had an answer to that. Catherine showed me documents that made my blood run cold. Psychological profiles, medical records, financial trails proving the program had been funded by government grants and pharmaceutical companies. "They were studying us for drug development," I said, the pieces clicking together, "testing how we responded to different compounds." "That was part of it," Catherine confirmed, "but they were also creating prototypes for the perfect citizen, compliant, predictable, easy to control." The room felt too small suddenly. I walked to the window and stared out at the dark forest, rain pattering against the glass like fingers tapping. "Let me in, let me in." "I need to find the others," I said, "the other children from my group." "Maya, that's dangerous," my mom said. "I don't care," I snapped. "Someone sent me those files for a reason." Catherine smiled sadly. "You sound like your father." I froze. My father? Thomas Sullivan. He was investigating institutional child abuse when he died. The accident that killed your parents was never properly investigated. "Murder," I whispered. For hours, I read everything Catherine had. I learned my father had been close to exposing Project Meridian. My real mother had been a teacher who suspected something wrong. They died in a single car accident with no witnesses. Hidden in the email metadata was a compressed file, a master list, 27 names, 27 children. My name had been crossed out and replaced. Status, active observation. But one name made my heart stop. Subject, A1, Sarah Elizabeth Monroe. Status, escalated high priority retrieval. A note underneath, she knows, she remembers, she has evidence. She must be contained. I showed Catherine the screen. Her face went pale. "Sarah was the first," she whispered. "The first child they ever placed. If she's remembered something, if she has evidence..." "Then she's in danger," I finished. "Where is she?" Catherine pulled up the network connection on her encrypted tablet. She typed quickly, her fingers flying across the keys. A response came back within minutes. "She's in Boston," Catherine said. "But Maya, if they're actively looking for her, you can't just show up. They'll be watching." "Then I'll be careful," I said. "But I'm not leaving her out there alone. Not when I know what they'll do to her." My mom grabbed my arm. "Please think about this. Once you go down this path, once you make yourself visible, there's no coming back." I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman who'd raised me, loved me, lied to me. This woman who was terrified and brave and broken and still trying to protect me even now. "I've been living their lie my whole life," I said quietly. "It's time I started living my truth." David spoke up from the corner. "I'll go with you. You'll need someone who knows how they operate." Catherine looked at her son, then at me, then back at her son. Finally, she nodded. "Then I'm coming too. If we're doing this, we do it together." My mom, the woman I'd called Mom for 29 years, took a deep breath. "I know where they keep the full archive, the complete list of every child, every placement, every outcome. I've known for years, but I was too afraid to access it." "Where?" I asked. "Seattle," she said. "In a secure facility beneath the old Harborview building. I was paid from that location every month for years. I know the layout, I know the security protocols, and I know how to get in." We looked at each other, this strange, improvised family. "Okay," I said. "Let's go get the list. Let's find Sarah, and let's make sure the world knows what Project Meridian did." Catherine raised her coffee mug. "To the children who were never supposed to exist." We all raised our mugs. And in that moment, I realized I wasn't Maya anymore. I wasn't Emma either. I was someone who'd been built from lies but chosen to become truth. The next morning, we headed for Seattle. We had a plan: enter through the Seattle underground tunnels beneath the old city. By nightfall, we were ready. The entrance to the underground was behind a condemned building. David picked the lock, and we descended into darkness. Cold, damp air, brick walls, dripping pipes. My mom led us through the maze of tunnels until we reached a modern metal door completely out of place. "That's it," she breathed. She tried the access code. Red light. David pulled out a hacking device. Numbers cycled, then green. The door opened. Beyond was a clean, modern stairwell. We descended together into a facility that looked like any corporate office. "Archives are on sub-level 3, my mom whispered. We moved fast, avoiding security, hacking doors, until we stood before a vault labeled Archive Project Meridian. My mom's retinal scan still worked. The vault opened. Inside, Catherine started copying files. David stood guard. I found Sarah's folder, complete history, recent surveillance photos. She was living in Boston, working as a nurse, completely unaware she was still being watched. The last document, dated 2 days ago, Subject A1 has accessed sealed records. Recommend immediate reintegration. Authorization pending. They're going after her now, I said. We have to expose everything first, Catherine replied, typing furiously. 10 minutes. We don't have 10, David said, checking his phone. Security's been tripped. 5 minutes, maybe. I need 7. Then we buy you 7, I said. Catherine ejected the drive. I have everything. Every child, every document, proof. Alarms blared, red lights strobed. We ran to an emergency vent. My mom pried it open. Go, she shouted. I'll come last. Catherine climbed in, then David. I started to follow, but my mom grabbed my arm. I'm so sorry, she said, tears streaming. I hope you can forgive me. We don't have time. She pushed me into the vent and locked the cover from outside. Mom, I screamed. What are you doing? Buying you time, her voice came through, muffled. Go tell the truth. And know that loving you was the only real thing I ever did. Behind her, the vault exploded open, shouting. Her calm voice. I'm alone. You're too late. David pulled me deeper into the shaft, up and up through narrow metal, my tears making it hard to see. 20 minutes later, we emerged onto a rainy rooftop. The facility swarmed with security far below. We didn't see them take her. We were already running. If you believe truth is worth sacrifice, that the people who were silenced deserve to be heard, subscribe now and comment where you're watching from, because we're about to release everything, every name, every document, every lie. The world is about to learn what Project Meridian really was. And I'm going to make sure my mother's choice wasn't for nothing. We're still running. But now, we're running towards something instead of away from it. And that makes all the difference.